Hey, welcome! October 2025 is absolutely stacked with new releases. We're talking about everything from nostalgic throwbacks to massive RPGs to some of the most controversial shooters of the decade. But this isn't just a huge countdown, it's a breakdown of each game in detail, what it is, how it plays, who it's for, and yes, the good and the bad and the ugly. I'll also raise some questions players are talking about already online. By the end of this video, you'll know which games are worth your time and which one might be disappointing. So enough chit chat, let's just get started. Terminator 2 goes 2D, but is this genius nostalgia or just a budget cash grab? I don't think it's a cash grab. I think this is looking really good and I'm very excited to play it. It's a retro-inspired side-scrolling action game retelling the events of Terminator 2. That movie that just came and blew everyone's minds up. You will play as Sarah Connor and a reprogrammed T-800. How cool is that? You're going to have to reimagine all the iconic scenes like the bar fight, the Foundry showdown and the highway chase as well. This will be the classic run and gun side-scrolling action. It looks good, it looks like it actually plays well, and I'm looking forward to see how it will feel in the hands of my Lenovo Go. There will also be boss battles, you will facing the T-1000 and the Skynet's machines. A good thing for competitive players is that there will be an arcade score mode with a lot of leaderboards. It's also a quite modern polish on the retro gameplay style here, so we will see tight gameplay and very tight controls. But there are some controversies and concerns, and on one hand fans love the throwback, because let's be honest, so many licensed games are bloated 3D messes. A tight 2D arcade style feels refreshing, but critics are asking, is this just too small for such a legendary license? Should a movie like Terminator 2 get an ambitious AAA treatment instead of a retro sideshow? Then there's the timing. Dropping on Halloween is clever marketing, but will players care enough once the big RPGs and shooters have already taken over the month? So the question is here, is this a fun novelty or a wasted opportunity? Well, we just gotta wait and see. For retro fans, however, it's a neat Halloween treat, but for everyone else it might just be a curiosity. At number 15 we got Double Dragon Revive. This is the grandfather of beat 'em up, and it's back with a punch. But does it belong in 2025? A revival of the 1987 arcade classic where brothers Billy and Jimmy Lee fight gangs to save the city. It's a typical side-scrolling beat-em-up combat with lots of punches, lots of kicks, and it's gonna be awesome, at least it looks like it. Of course there will be 2-player co-op, online and local, so you will have no worries about that part. There will be a lot of environmental interactions as usual, juggle combos and tag team specialties. The new thing here is that it's upgraded with the modern 3D visuals, so that's cool. Training modes and challenging towers so you can try your best to climb all the way up to the highest score. But, however, fans are split. On one hand, this is nostalgia done right. Familiar gameplay, slick visuals, couch, co-op and everything. A warm return to simpler times. On the other, though, people wonder, is there room for beat-em-ups nowadays? When we already have Street of Rage 4, Sci-Fi or indies that just reinvent the genre. Some players worry about depth. Can Double Dragon Revive hold attention for more than a weekend? Or will it just be a nostalgia binge before people just go back to the bigger, deeper games? It's definitely an old-school brawler reimagined. Fun for a hit of retro energy, but whether it survives in 2025 throughout the lineup is just another question. Then at number 14 we got Tormented Souls 2. This is a survival horror as if it never left the 90s. That's either genius or outdated. The sequel to the cult hit Tormented Souls, this is more like a love letter to Resident Evil and Silent Hill. You play as Caroline Walker and she returns to face new supernatural horrors in a cursed mansion-like environment. It's very gothic, it's very eerie, and filled with occult puzzles. And as usual we get the traditional fixed camera angles here. The controls will be probably tanky, but the game will have a lot of puzzle solving. You will also have to manage a lot of your resources, especially ammo and your healing items. And be careful with all the save points. But there is a debate going on. Fans praise the series for staying faithful to old school horror because, let's face it, modern horror often just turns into action shooters either way. But critics argue that the very things fans love, the tank controls, static camera, limited saves, are exactly what turns newcomers away. Those nostalgia create immersion or just maybe frustration here. Is this brave resistance to trends or a refusal to just evolve into something new or better? And what about the graphics here? Well, the first game nailed atmosphere but lacked the polish. Will Tormented Souls 2 hold up to the next Resident Evil 4 remake and Alone in the Dark? Hard to say, or will it just rough edges hurt the experience here? Anyway, this is survival horror for purists, but if you want modern polish, you may want to be left in the dark. At number 13, we got Absolum. This is a brand new action RPG where gods walk among mortals. That seems pretty interesting, really. Is this the new next big thing or just ambitious outpacing execution? So you're a chosen warrior torn between gods and mortals. It's set in a high fantasy with a dystopian edge. Themes of fate, rebellion, and destiny will be the biggest one here in this game. It's a third-person combat with weapons and divine powers. Branching storylines will shape your choices. Exploration will take you across ruined temples and cities. Some players are hyped for this, and the new IP in a world where sequels dominate feels refreshing, but others are cautious. Can a new studio pull this off? Or will Absolum collapse under the weight of the ambition? There's also this identity crisis question. With its mix of mythology and dystopia, does it risk feeling like a watered-down God of War or Dragon Age? Or can it actually carve its own unique space here? It's definitely ambitious, it's very risky, but it's still intriguing. It could flop, it could also fly high. Worth keeping an eye on at least, I would say. I mean, it looks pretty decent and I'm definitely gonna check it out when it's released. At number 12, we got Moonlighter 2, The Endless Vault. You will be a shop by day, dungeon crawl by night. This indie darling is back, but is it too grindy for 2025? So what is this game? Well, it's a sequel to the 2018 hit that blended roguelike dungeon crawling with store management. You will return to explore the Endless Vault, balance immersion life with a lot of adventuring. It's a roguelike combat with a lot of randomized dungeons. You have expanded shopkeeping, a lot of haggling, decoration, customer management, more weapon paths, skill upgrades, and deeper crafting. However, fans adore the first game's charm, but not the grind. Will the sequel fix progression, pacing, or will it repeat the same balance issues? And what about scope? Can a cozy indie like this compete for time against October's giants like Battlefield 6 and Outer Worlds 2? Or is its strength exactly that it's a smaller, more personal game? Anyway, for players wanting cozy meets hardcore, this could be a highlight of October. But, however, grind fatigue is a real risk here. At number 11, we got NASCAR 25. NASCAR's official simulator is back, but does it move forward or just go in circles? NASCAR has always been an annualized racing simulator. It has full seasons, authentic tracks, official teams, career mode with sponsorships and rivalries, online play with leagues, more or less the same thing we see every year. But here's the ongoing problem. Fans want innovation, but often get incremental updates. Is NASCAR 25 truly different or just shinier textures? Physics and AI tweaks are promised though, but will casual player even notice that? Is it fair to expect yearly innovation from a niche sports simulator, or should player accept that authenticity is the real goal here? Anyway, die-hard fans will definitely show up. For everyone else, the question remains, is this more of the same? At number 10, we got Digimon Story Time Stranger. Pokemon didn't make this list, but Digimon has. Is this the monster RPG fans have been waiting for? The newest entry in the Digimon Story RPG series, where you recruit, train, and battle with hundreds of Digimon, is here. Time itself is collapsing in the digital world, and you have to travel across different eras to stop a timeless catastrophe. Classic Digimon like Agumon will return alongside brand new evolutions. It's a party-based, turn-based RPG combat. Over 300 Digimon to train and evolve, prancing paths with multiple endings. So there seems to be enough to please every Digimon fan out there. But here's the split. Hardcore Digimon fans, however, love the darker tone and deeper storytelling compared to Pokemon. But skeptics argue the series reuses too much. Old Digimon, old areas, even recycled mechanics. The question is, will nostalgia carry the game, or do players expect something radically new in 2025? And with Pokemon Legends around the corner, will Time Stranger even get a chance to shine? Either way, if you prefer monster RPGs with heavier narrative stakes, this might be October's sleeper hit. At number 9, we got Jurassic World Evolution 3. Well, here you will build your dream dinosaur park as usual, or just watch it collapse into chaos. This is the Frontier's third entry in the Dino Park Simulator series. You will construct habitats, you will manage visitors and keep your dinosaurs under control, otherwise they will jump out and eat your visitors and you don't want that. You will have new biomes, tundra, desert and swamps. It has a campaign, it's an open sandbox to do whatever you want, and challenge mode will be there as well for people who want, well, more challenges. However, fans are nervous. Why? Well, because Evolution 1 and 2 became DLC machines. Will Evolution 3 pull the same trick here? $20 packs for every new dinosaurs? On the flip side, management simulation lovers defend this. This is one of the most polished park builders around, with incredible details. But here's the question, is polish enough if it's locked behind endless expansions? But if Frontier can balance content and monetization, this could be the definite Jurassic World simulator. If not, expect players to call it DLC Park. And at number 8 we got Painkiller. A true cult classic, Demon Slayer is back. But can it compare and compete with the Doom Eternal? This is a reboot of the 2004 arena shooter known for fast action and outrageous weapons. You got high speed, wave-based arena combat, over-the-top weapons, stake gun and shuriken cannons, you name it. There will be boss fights across gothic landscapes, but fans are asking, will the reboot keep this series' quirky personality or sand it down into a generic shooter? And of course, competition is fierce. After Doom Eternal set the bar sky high, does Painkiller stand a chance, or will it feel like Doom but cheaper? However, maybe that's its strength here. Leaner, more chaotic fun, but without the lore overload. If it nails speed and spectacle, Painkiller could carve out its own bloody niche here. I'm gonna definitely check it out, because I've always loved Doom. I grew up with that kind of franchise, and you know, Duke Nukem, we got Unreal Tournament and Quake. So yeah, I'm definitely gonna have my eye on this one. At number 7 we got another game called Kingmakers. This is a modern gun versus medieval knights. Brilliant idea, or just a YouTube meme bait? A hybrid of third-person shooting and real-time strategy set in medieval England. Play as a soldier with modern rifles, tanks, even drones, or zoom out and command medieval armies like an RTS. Build castles, siege fortress, and experiment with absurd setups. Sounds crazy, huh? Yeah, well, some players see it as a genius. Finally, something unique in a sea of sequels. Others call it shallow, a one-yoke premise stretched into a full game. So is Kingmakers the future of hybrid genres, or just meme fodder that will fade once the novelty wears off? And what about balance here? How do swords and bows stand against Humvees and snipers? It's definitely ridiculous, it is chaotic, and it could either flop or explode on streaming platforms. Personally, this is something I've been really interested in the first time I saw it, because I love hybrid things like this. Who hasn't thought of the idea, what if a soldier or a squad of soldiers would go back into the medieval and just face off with knights? How would the knights react, and how would the soldiers just mow them down with their machine guns? I don't know. Yeah, it sounds ridiculous, but hey, I'm in. I'm definitely in for this one. Then at number 6 we got Arc Riders. An extraction shooter, but without PvP. How does co-op alone keep this tension alive? It's a free-to-play third-person extraction shooter where squads fight robotic enemies known as the Ark. You will drop into large open zones, loot, extract safely, the same thing we've done in many other loot shooters and extraction shooters. You will have grappling hooks and traversal mechanics for vertical play. It will be PvE focused with hints of PvP modes later. So I definitely think the developers are just feeling everything up here and see where the fans are wanted to take this game. And here's the debate. Fans of extraction games like Tarkov argue that PvP is what makes the genre thrilling. Without it, Arc Riders is just another co-op lure. But others say PvP often kills fun with toxicity and camping. For them, PvE extraction is perfect, tense without being punishing. And then there's also trust issues. The developers hyped the game with a cryptic countdown that just revealed, well, the release date. Fans call it misleading, so can Arc Riders rebuild that trust? It's definitely stylish and ambitious, yeah. The real question here, will players stick around after the first month? The game has also been praised by its extremely good sound engineering, so people who love nice sound effects is definitely gonna love this game. Me personally, I'm definitely gonna check it out. Why not? I mean, it looks really good. It seems to have nice fit controls as well. If the traversal feels good with the hooks and everything, well, then I'm actually gonna try it out. At number 5, we got Ninja Gaiden 4. Everybody knows Ninja Gaiden or heard of it, even if you haven't played it. Ninja Gaiden returns after a decade, but can hardcore action still survive in 2025? It's a very fast-paced hack and slash where Ryu Hayabusa battles demonic forces once again. It has precision melee combat, a lot of wall running and a lot of aerial combos, brutal boss fights that will be demanding patience and skills. It also has branching story choices, a first for the series actually. However, fans of the original trilogy want it hardcore, no compromises here, but there's worry here. Will the developers casualize it for modern audiences? And here's the bigger debate. In a world where Elden Ring and Sekiro dominate hardcore action, does Ninja Gaiden still have room, or will it feel like a relic? This could be a triumphant return or a reminder of why some series stayed dormant. My take on this is that, yeah, there is definitely room for Ninja Gaiden. It's Ninja Gaiden, for Christ's sake. I mean, who doesn't want to be a ninja? As long as the gameplay is tight and good, and the story with all the different branching, that seems very, very exciting as well. I'm definitely going to check this game out. I just don't know how I'm going to keep up with all these good games releasing. At number 4, we got Vampire the Masquerade, Bloodlines 2. This is development hell. Studio changes, day 1 DLC outrage. Is this vampire RPG cursed already before it even released? It's a narrative RPG set in Seattle's vampire society, balancing politics, morality and survival. So clans fight for dominance under the Masquerade. You will have to choose powers like shadow manipulation or seduction. Branching missions will allow stealth, persuasion or violence. And people who have played a lot of the pen and paper role-playing games that have played Vampire the Masquerade over there, they know exactly what this will be about. But let's be real here, this game has a lot of baggage. Multiple delays, switch developers mid-project, whole features cut like full characters creation. And then the DLC disaster, 2 clans locked behind expensive day 1 DLCs. That's amazing. Fans erupted, PlayStation even refunded pre-orders. So here's the question, is Bloodlines 2 a tighter, more focused RPG after the chaos? Or is it just a butchered version of what it could have been? It's definitely one of the most fascinating releases of the year, not just for what it is, but for the drama that got it here. But I'm definitely going to check the game out. We have games that have turned out like crap, but actually are gems nowadays, like Cyberpunk and No Man's Sky. But if they are still going to lock characters behind paid walls, then I think, well, that's not good. I don't like that at all. Shame on you. At number 3, we got The Outer Worlds 2. This is corporate satire in space, but can it stand against Starfield and Baldur's Gate 3? Obsidian's witty sci-fi RPG sequel set in new star systems beyond Halcyon. Corporations colonize new worlds. You will decide whether to side with rebels, mega corporations, or forge your own path. Companions with deep stories will return. This is a first-person RPG with a lot of combat and branching dialogue. It has bigger planets, more exploration. Skill checks influence almost every decision here. But players wonder, can Outer Worlds 2 compete in the scope with Starfield, or should it focus on what Obsidian does best, choice-driven witty RPGs? Another debate here is, do fans want bigger maps or just deeper stories? Because trying to do both could stretch the game too thin, and we are used to that. Either they make the game really good small world with a lot of good story, or they try to do these big worlds with almost nothing in them. Either way, Obsidian has a legendary RPG track record. The question is whether they double down on depth or chase size that they just can't match. At number 2 we got Ghost of Yotei. Ghost of Tsushima will set a new bar here. Can Sony do it again in the snowy mountains of Japan? It's a cinematic open-world samurai adventure, spiritual successor to Ghost of Tsushima, set in northern Japan around Mount Yotei. You will play as a new protagonist torn between honor and survival. Snowstorms, blizzards and harsh environments will shape the gameplay. The game looks beautiful and the action looks thrilling, but the pressure is huge. Ghost of Tsushima is beloved, one of Sony's best exclusives. Can Yotei live up to it though? Or will comparisons overshadow it no matter what? And another question, does changing settings and weather feel fresh enough? Or is this just Tsushima in the snow? This could be Sony's next masterpiece, however. But the shadow of Tsushima looms pretty large here. And finally at number 1 we got Battlefield 6, the most anticipated release of October, and who can blame it? Can DICE however deliver, or will this be another 2042 level disaster? This is the next chapter in EA's flagship FPS franchise, bringing back the campaign and doubling down on massive scale multiplayer. It's set in a near future global conflict. The campaign acts like a sandbox, letting player tackle objectives with freedom. They have brought back the 4 classic classes: Assault, Support, Engineer and Recon. 128 player matches with large-scale destruction and dynamic weather events like tornadoes and sandstorms. The vehicle galore is tanks, jets, helicopters and regular transports. They also return some fan-favorite modes called Conquest, Rush, plus new large team battles. The good thing here is that they've actually listened to the fans. You got a lot stronger class identities, no more vague specialist system from 2042. It also said that it has improved destruction physics, which I can agree on, but it's not that I was that impressed when I played the beta. Squad play emphasized with deployable vehicles and shared rewards. Full crossplay and progression of course, but this is where the debate heats up. On one side, fans are ecstatic. Battlefield finally feels like Battlefield again. Huge maps, proper classes and campaign, all things 2042 drop, but others aren't convinced. Engineers were overpowered in the beta, shredding vehicles too easily. Xbox Series S versions crashed so often they had to cut assets loads. And then there's the Netflix style UI, slick looking but clunky to navigate. Is that progress or just style over substance? And let's not ignore the cheating. Within hours of the beta going live, hackers were already flooding the servers. If EA's anti-cheat isn't airtight at all, this could kill the game before it even starts. And finally, the biggest concern. EA reportedly wants Battlefield to go annual like Call of Duty. Is that sustainable, or will it kill quality in the long run? So I'll ask you, does Battlefield 6 mark a glorious comeback, or is it just another stumble in a franchise that's been struggling to find its footing again? So while Battlefield 6 is bold, ambitious and easily the most talked about shooter of 2025, it's the game everyone's watching in October, and whether it's source or trash it's going to dominate the conversations definitely. And there you have it. What stands out to you? Are you hyped for the blockbusters like Battlefield 6 and Ghost of Yotei, or are you a little bit more excited about the hidden gems like Moonlighter 2 or Absolum? And here's the real question, how many of these games will actually live up to the hype? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because October's lineup is one of the wildest I've seen in years. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, hit subscribe, because November and December are looking just as packed and I will be covering all of it. And with that said, I wish you all a great day and take care of each other now, and I'll see you in the next video.